Hello? Can everybody hear me? Hey Alex. Oh, hey Totally Just Magic. Hey Mikhail. How's it going? Yes, Chatterbox, it's back. Bringing it back, baby. Hey Studio Malaka. Haven't heard from you for a while. I hope you're well. Yeah, I hope everyone's good. Yeah, feel free to ask questions in the chat. I think the music is too loud. Let me just turn it just a bit down. Yeah, I think I have your voice on max as well.
Nice. Hello, hello. Check, check.
Yeah, okay. It's going well.
Perfect. Woo.
Yeah. How's it going? Excited for another Chatterbox? Hell yeah. And unlike all my other streams, which are here, this stream will also be saved in the playlist as well as in, I'm not gonna put it on unlisted or private. So for those who don't have time, can also watch it at the end or like later when they have time. But yeah. All right.
Very nice.
I think
Hey,
I
everyone.
shall. Yeah.
Wanted to say hi to all these people.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
So I will now go for and talk a little bit about the structure of this stream. But we will first have some questions that I've made for Leander specifically, and then after that we'll go for some Q&A and talk about, if you just want to talk about what his approach is for level design. We're gonna focus on level design, maybe a bit of 3D modeling, maybe a bit just like your game dev journey, and yeah, just talk about our passion and stuff. So I
great.
hate the fact that you can see me tabbing my my thing. That's so embarrassing. I'm sorry. Yeah, people can see me alt tabbing because I'm on my other screen.
Just saw it now.
Yeah. Yeah, so hey everyone, my name is Andrew and welcome to Game Dev's Chatterbox, a small series where I chat with some really amazing and talented game devs who are currently working on some of the really cool projects. And I want to find out more about their personal stories, their struggles, and their achievements, and see what we can learn from them. Today's session, we have an old one. Like, I've known this man, like, he's a great dude, but I known him for such a long time. I think when I just started game dev as well. And his name is Leander, also known as CGSky. He's on YouTube. If you checked out his videos about 3D modeling, as well as just him on his own projects. Yeah, he's a third. You're on your third year, right? Third year student currently studying game design, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. One of the games is called Ruth's Journey, and another one that is what you're currently working on. It's called Till Nord.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, Leander, tell us a bit just how you got started in game dev.
Okay. Yeah. So I mainly started making games in Blender, which is maybe a big surprise to people, but yeah, Blender has its own game engine, or it used to have.
That's crazy.
And yeah, so that was how I started. I started 3D modeling in there, and then at some point I discovered you can make games with it, and then I was just completely drawn to that. I just knew from that moment that I wanted to make games, and I just kept going at it. Like, I probably made like prototypes in small games for 5 years or something until I decided, okay, this is what I want to study. And that's when I started learning Unreal Engine and started working on some bigger projects, and that's how I ended up in the study where I'm at, studying game design and production in the Netherlands right now. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
Very cool. Very cool. And would you like to talk a little bit about your current project, what are you currently working on?
Yes, of course. So, Till Nord is the game I'm currently working on as our a student project. It's a 1 year project that we have to do, and it's a snowmobile driving game in an open world. So it's mostly about exploring, driving your snowmobile around the environment, helping out people in a Norwegian town. This whole place is it's all set in Norway.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, I was mostly responsible for doing the level design of the world. So a lot of like open world design and making sure the level looks good. We really try to push ourselves with the graphics that we could achieve in a student project and try to like use art assets as good as possible so that we can create like a realistic looking environment. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, and everyone in the team is very proud of the game as well. So
That's
yeah,
really cool. If you don't
that's
mind me
cool.
asking, like how many team members are you like currently, and what is it like to work in a multidisciplinary team?
Yeah, so I think we're 16 team members right now.
16?
Um, yes, I think so.
Whoa, that's huge. Okay, you have to
It
tell
is,
me what that feels like.
yeah, it is really cool. So the whole way our school works is basically that it tries to simulate like a AAA work environment. So basically, our teachers, they're like our shareholders. We can ask them for feedback and so on, and they give us feedback and criticism, and they like kind of help us make the right decisions. And then everyone else in the team, we have a design team, we have a programming team, we have an art team, and each team has their own lead. And yeah, it's very interesting. And we have a production team as well. So
Holy crap.
yeah, that's the fun part about this study that I'm doing, is that you really like learn what it's like to work in a big studio,
Mm,
because it's hard to get that experience by yourself. Like before I
right.
started studying, I tried applying at a bunch of game companies, but I couldn't get into an internship or anything like that because they all require you to have some sort of experience or
Yeah.
some sort of degree.
Yeah, I think I
But
fell
yeah,
into the same thing when I was like looking for applications as well, and usually it's just like, oh, 4 years of experience, at least
yeah,
two games published, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll see you in
yeah.
5 years.
Exactly, that's the thing. It's crazy what they want from juniors in this
Yeah,
industry.
and I was like, all right, well, that's a lot, but we'll okay, sure.
We'll talk about it, and then
Yeah.
you got started making your games. It's yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with our project, our goal is also to have the game fully released on Steam, because
That's awesome.
that's nice. Yeah, it's nice for recruiters to see that you have a game on Steam. That
It's also
already
just,
helps
I
out a
think
lot.
it's such a useful experience as well for me, especially when I released Tadpole Tales. Like, I think having done that, having gone through Steam's procedures, now I know how to react to it on my next game. And for you as well, right? You're doing this in
Yeah,
school, and then once you've done it, you kind of already know the steps you need to take to actually publish it on Steam and see
yeah,
how Steam behaves to become partnered with Steam.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, that's really cool. I'm so like interested in the fact that like you're working in such a big team, and
Yeah.
when you communicate with people, if you don't mind me asking, like, well, what do you usually do? Like, do you just, I don't know, do you like, do you guys have meetings, or do you guys like just do you guys just send each other emails and you just talk with each other, or how does it
Uh,
work?
Okay, yeah, so it's quite heavy on meetings sometimes. So we have
Oh,
our own
okay.
Discord server where everyone in the team is always available, and basically what we do in the mornings, we have a stand-up meeting. So for the people that don't know, that's like a production thing where everyone gets together in a voice chat, and then you tell everyone what you were doing yesterday, what you're going to do today, and what if there's anything blocking you from doing these things. And it's supposed to be very quick. That's why it's called stand up. So everyone has to be standing up, and then you can sit down once everyone is done.
Take notes,
Um,
guys. Take notes. Wow, that's very
yeah,
cool.
it's really effective once you have like a bigger team, because then it helps that everybody knows what everyone else is doing. Otherwise, you get some really like you get problems later on in
Mm.
development when people are just working on their own thing and don't know what the other people are up to.
It makes so
And
much
then
sense for a big company. Like for a
mm,
big team, sorry, for a big team, I think that makes so much sense. Sorry, continue.
yeah. And then the other thing we have is we use Scrum, so that's it's an agile sort of it's a production technique as well, where you assign yourself tasks and then you have to finish those tasks in sprints, which is like a short time frame. For us, it's 2 weeks. And we have like a Scrum meeting every 2 weeks where we plan the tasks, and then later on we have a review. We check, okay, did the person finish those tasks? What did go well? What went wrong? How can we improve in the future? And so these meetings are very important to just make sure that everyone stays up to date and doesn't fall behind with the rest of the team.
Oh wow! Okay, I mean I heard of Scrum because I've done a little bit of programming in my previous university, and we used Scrum as well, and it's a very agile and very flexible development approach, and I think it's perfect for games, especially because what was it? The other one was waterfall, which is basically you go from the top, you decide, and you finish, and you never go back up. Yeah. Whereas Scrum is like passing a ball, right? Bouncing it left and right continuously.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a very iterative process. So you always you try to get like a finished result after each sprint, something that you could potentially release. So theoretically, after the first 2 weeks, you should already have a prototype that is like technically your whole game in some way. Well, not really, but like in essence, that's kind of what you're trying, and then you just use the rest of the sprints to kind of refine it and to get it to like the quality where it's finished.
Right. I see. That's really cool.
It is very nice, but I feel like for like very small teams, it's not really, it doesn't really work. Like, especially if you're just working with your friends or something like that, it's much nicer to just do like a waterfall sort of approach. Just throw stuff at the game and see what happens with it. Oh yeah. But in a big team, you have to coordinate a lot more.
I think it's just so much. Obviously, it's so much management to the point that you have to be as effective as possible. You know.
Yeah.
Some things can be sent through an email rather than a meeting, and some things can be just needs to be a meeting, right? So.
That's like a big part of learning at the start, is like figuring out, okay, how can we keep meetings short? Because what normally happens with student projects is that meetings take forever and there's like no conclusions at the end, and it just doesn't help at all. You just waste a lot of time in meetings, and we had that same issue, and then slowly we started going more towards like, okay, how can we make these shorter? How can we make them more effective? And I mean, we have a dedicated producer who just focuses on trying to make sure the team can be as productive as possible and that all the deadlines are met. And that helps a lot as well.
Damn, that's awesome. Holy crap. All right, well, let's jump to another topic, which is a very different one. I want to talk a little bit about your YouTube and how has it been for you so far? And,
Sure. Okay, so I started my YouTube channel quite a while ago. I started it on the 8th of February in 2012. So that's when I was just like 13 or something like that.
Wow, okay, right.
But then I didn't really do anything there. I just uploaded like some animations that I made in Blender myself, which are really bad looking back at it. But hey, everyone's learning at that age.
Yeah.
And that was how it kind of started. And then at some point I just got more into like the Blender game engine and making games in that. And once I shared more of my stuff, like people really seemed to enjoy it, because there weren't a lot of people there. It's like a really small niche, and I was one of the few people that tried to make like graphically good looking games in it, or something that not a lot of people had done before, because it was very hard. So that's how that went. And then I started making tutorials, which was very anxiety inducing at the start, but it helped me a lot with like just speaking more with more confidence and stuff, so that was very nice as well. And that's how it went. But then I sort of went inactive on the channel since like probably about 3 years ago.
Well,
I
your
tried
project
here and there
started,
to, like,
right? Your project started, so that's probably taken you a lot of time. Because I'm thinking like if you have to be so coordinated in a big team, probably not a lot of free time. Like you don't have a lot of free time based on that, right?
Yeah, I tried last year to kind of get my channel back running a little bit again, but I quickly noticed that trying to do the student work and then on top also trying to manage YouTube just wasn't really achievable for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something I want to pick up again in the future, but that
Yeah,
depends
yeah.
on
I mean, I think the
how
beauty of
time
this
goes.
is, you'll always have your subscribers there, and even if you like, you're still on your journey, right? It's a never-ending journey. So in that sense, you can always
Very true.
pick back up. So like you made it like what do you call it? A justified decision towards
Yeah.
yeah. So and I think that's great, to be honest. Um, yeah. Okay. So now back to your actual development. Was there anything like, if there's one key thing that you learned from your experience working on this game? I'm not just talking about working with a team. I'm talking about from this game in general.
Hmm.
Is there one key lessons that you learned that helped you kind of contributed to your like workflow that helped you improve?
Um, yeah, there were a couple.
Mm.
So like the thing we do at school is that we have to document our learnings, and that we at the end we have to kind of tell the teachers what were like the big things you learned, the big lessons. Um, this one, like from a process standpoint, this was the first time I worked on an open world project, so it was very, for me,
Awesome.
level design wise, it was very tricky because I didn't really know where to start, and there aren't that many resources online about it. But what I found was mostly to try to be very like iterative at the start and really figure out, okay, where the player is supposed to go in the map. And that was
Golden
that was
path.
like a challenging lesson for me at the start. Um, wait, I'm checking right now if I can see what
Yeah,
I put
sure.
down in my
Well, while you do that,
documentation.
I'll just tell the chat. By the way, we'll answer all the question at the end, afterwards. So don't worry, they will get answered. But
Oh
I can
yeah,
answer one right
nice.
now. Mark asked if you're using Unity or Unreal. I can pretty much assure that you're an Unreal user. Um,
Yes, I'm an Unreal user. We're using Unreal for the project. Our whole school is mostly focused on using Unreal as well. You can pick your own game engine if you want to. You can pick Unity as well. But since most people are, or most projects in the first years are mostly catered towards Unreal, that's what everyone ends up choosing in most of these projects.
hmm, yeah.
Um, yeah. So for like I wrote down like one of the biggest lessons that I learned was cutting content, because
Oh, okay.
maybe later we'll go over some of the pictures that I provided you.
Yes, yes.
We had a really big plan for the map, and we thought, okay, we have a year, we have so much time, like we can
Hmm.
make this whole huge level.
You're on
We
the
want to drive
classic
around
game
everywhere.
dev path of
Yes.
cutting things. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just, it wasn't the right call, or at least, yeah, we noticed that we had to reduce it a lot because it wasn't realistic, even though we had 3 level designers and 2 environment artists all working together to make the world happen. We had to cut like
Man,
60% of the map or something like that.
man.
Yeah, so
Damn.
that was a big lesson, was to learn when to cut. And also it was really helpful that we had feedback from teachers that also suggested, like, okay, reduce the size of the map, this is way too big, you're never going to get this done. Like listening to that feedback, really taking it to heart, was very important as well.
Hmm.
um, yeah, so if we wouldn't have done that, I feel like it would have gone very differently in the
Hmm.
end.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Damn. Well done. That's very. I think it's, oh, man, especially cutting down features that when you just hear it, when it's just the idea, it's really really fresh. You really want to add it. You really want to put it. But at some
Yeah.
point, you kind of like, once you let it sit and you come to like a realization saying like, okay, do I really need this, or is it a want or is it a must, right? And
Mm.
being strong enough to let it go and to cut things to make sure to focus on what is truly important to you,
Yeah.
about the game. I think that's something that every game designer or developer or level designer needs to go through, and to be like, it's a maturity process in some way, you can say it, right?
Yeah. At some point, you just kind of have to decide, like, okay, which is the part that I want to make really good, and like, what's gonna hinder me from achieving that, and then everything that's gonna hinder you from that, you just have to let go. You have to cut
Right,
off.
right,
Did
absolutely.
you have to cut a lot of stuff for Tadpole Tales
Oh,
before the release?
yeah. I mean, we had to cut a lot midterm. I think one thing
Mm.
that we were pretty lucky is that we knew from the very beginning. We're like, okay, we're gonna make a small game. No matter what it is, it's gonna be a small game. Let's say 10 minutes of playtime, and it is 10 minutes of playtime if you're good, right? It
Mm.
actually is just 10 minutes. Um, yeah, and even Giacomo and I, we wanted to we wanted to add things. I wanted to be like different. I wanted the map to transition between things seamlessly. Giacomo wanted to actually add a skin at the end, and I was like, "What?" Yeah, but we were
Okay.
strong enough to be able to be like, "All right, say no to it. The game, focus on what's important.
Yeah.
Publish the game, so we can work on our next one."
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. At some point, you just kind of want to get it done and
Yeah,
out of
like
the room.
you can't let it like sit in for too long because you're not doing the game any good either. Like the game needs to be out at some point, right?
Yeah.
And you can never say the game is finished. There's always things you could add, and there's always things you can change, and
Yeah.
I can always balance the game forever and ever. But I think it's just a very thin line of the point where you should just publish it and let it start working on the next one because there's only so much you can learn from one game, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
guessing the two games that you worked on as well, they're quite, even though they're both 3D, right? But there's the design principles and the approach is very different, correct?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So therefore, you're
Um,
you're learning a lot. You're learning new things from your next game always, and it's gonna be the things that you learn you would have not been able to gotten from your first project, correct?
yeah,
That's the
and
thing.
it's especially nice as well to once you have a game done to like kind of start fresh and be like, okay, I've learned all of this, and now
Mm,
I can take all of this knowledge and put it into my next game, but make it even better. Like just
yeah.
the ability to like improve on what you've done previously.
Oh yeah.
That's so nice
Oh
to
yeah.
see how you kind of progress through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
apart from what is really good, I wanted to also ask: has there been any backlashes throughout your development? What are the worst experience you had in game development? If you could name one.
You mean in general in game development,
Yeah,
or you
in
mean
general.
during this
No,
project?
not this project. In general, it can be
In
this project
general.
if you want, or you can even
Okay.
not mention in what project and just say your worst experience.
Yeah, okay. So my worst experience was definitely like being really burned out from game development in general. There was a time when I was working full time by myself on like the predecessor, whatever you say, however you said, the previous game to Ruth's Journey, which was kind of how I started learning Unreal and everything, and I worked on that full time by myself, and it went quite well until I joined a global game jam, and I went to the global game jam. It was pretty nice at the start, but during that time I got completely overwhelmed with everything. Like I I don't know, I was way too much of a perfectionist and wanted to make like the perfect game jam game. And that was just the completely wrong mindset. This is like the first proper on-site game jam that I did. It was completely wrong mindset to bring to it. I was like one of the youngest people there as well for some reason, and just got way too cocky. Just completely like burnt myself out over that weekend, and took me like almost half a year to really recover from that and be like, hey, I
Oh
wanna I
wow,
wanna make games again and stuff like that.
I see,
Yeah.
I see.
So that
Damn,
was that
that's
was
pretty.
pretty yeah, shocking.
That sounds really really heavy. But I
Yeah.
think, in a way though, uh, I can't say from my side, but I think if I would experience that, I think I'd be very grateful that I have experienced that because I
Mm.
feel like you've grown from it a lot because going through the experience and also being able to be so intrapersonal about this experience because you're analyzing your experience and you're evaluating on your own. you're able to come to this realization saying like, okay, mindset is important, the way of approach is important, taking breaks is important, right? Your mental health, your is linked to your ability to make games. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's awesome
For
in
sure.
that sense.
Yeah, it's very important. Like that's something that it's good that people, if people learn that early, that they should really take care of themselves while doing anything really, but like
Hmm.
especially making games. I feel like it's such a like heavy, or designing and so on. It's very like a very brainy sort of job where
Mm-hmm.
you do a lot of thinking, and it's sometimes you just forget to like find something else to do, have some other hobbies, do some exercise or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something I'm still struggling with, but yeah,
I mean, with
it's
COVID and
important.
stuff, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was in a moment where like for the past 2 months I haven't got out to the house.
Yeah,
So I was like, at one point I was like, God, I really need to get out.
yeah,
but
same.
yeah, like what you said is absolute true, and I'm all for it. I totally believe in that as well. Um, yeah, it's one thing, right? With I even said in my latest video on YouTube, I said that if I have not taken care of myself and make sure that I am happy and that I'm working on something and I'm not getting burnt out, I would have not been able to finish Tattletails with a smile on my face, and I might have needed to take a break from it if I was
Yeah.
how do you call it, abusing myself and my mental abilities, right? If I was abusing that thing, that's when things could go south for me, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you rob yourself of all the great like fun at the end of releasing the game.
Yes,
Like
yes. Yeah.
it's supposed to be the most fun time and the best time where you finally
It's
get to
such a
see
shame.
people playing your project. And yeah, if you're burned out by that point, then it's not gonna be very enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. That's an amazing response. I love that. So we can now talk a little bit about level design if you want, which
Yes,
I think
let's
is what
do
the
it.
viewers really want to see as well. So in terms of level design, would you like to share your screen and talk a little bit about your approaches, what you did to the game, and I think before that you can also give you gave some examples on, like, you gave some description on the game, but I'm guessing you can
Hmm.
explain more as you show how you designed everything. So now I'm going
Yeah.
to shift my screen to Leander's screen, and hopefully I'm using my older
Yes.
Streamlabs, as you guys can see, so bear with me.
I will make sure
Yeah, let me know when you share it.
I'll
Okay.
stream here. Okay, I am trying
you guys
right
can see it.
now to first maybe show like a bit more about the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to bring up the Steam page real quick. Ta, ta, ta. Wow, stop. Okay, there it is.
Oh, you have a Steam page. Holy crap, yeah.
Yeah, we do, we do.
Yeah.
It's in early access, so it can be played
And
already.
it's free?
It's
Okay,
free,
I'm
of
gonna give it a
course.
go after that, for sure.
Hell yeah.
I want to see your level design. It
Yes.
looks
So
stunning.
I'm gonna show some screenshots here. Yeah. So this is yeah, this is part of our level, and yeah, it's a you play as a guy on a snowmobile driving around the world. You can check out the trailer yourself here with some nice shots. There's some cool jumps in the environment and things to collect and explore. We knew early on that we wanted to focus more on exploration and less on racing. So there's a lot more stuff like there's, I believe, 40 snowmen in the environment that you can destroy by driving through them.
Mm.
And yeah, so there's things like that. There's little gags and things to find. And yeah, that's our project so far, and we have like 8 more weeks now to finish this game up, try to make it as good as possible, polish everything. You can see we got a few reviews, but yeah, the release hasn't been very huge yet, but that's fine. It's mostly
Yeah.
supposed to be a portfolio piece as well. So yeah, I wanted to walk you guys through how the map was sort of designed. And early on, in the very beginning of the project, it's important to kind of just get a feel for the size of the environment, what stuff you're gonna have in it, and so on. So I made a lot of sketches, something like this, very simple, just going into GIMP in this case, and just sketching out a layout for the map.
Right.
There's a bunch more like paper sketches that I did for things you could, for example, do with the snowmobile, more ideas for the map, and so on. And that's when I really decided, okay, so I kind of want to split it up into 4 sections. This was also because we had 4 level designers at the time, so I thought that everyone could work on one of these sections.
Oh
We
yeah.
have like 2 towns, a forest, a glacier. So just thinking logically, okay, what could be fun? What could be what would players want to explore in this map? How can we make it interesting? And also, players have to orient themselves in the level. They have to always know where they are.
Right.
From that, I made a first
Oh
very
wow.
basic blockout. Yeah, so this is where Blender really comes in useful for me, because I really like to just throw together some geometry really quickly and not really be constrained by the level editor in Unreal Engine, for example, or I don't know, Unity has like a Pro Builder or something like that. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's very nice to work in, but for me, Blender's just the fastest. So I quickly created this, refined it into a little bit more of a dynamic, sculpted sort of a landscape, and I threw this into Unreal Engine and just drove around in it with our drivable vehicle. And that was mainly for me to just figure out, okay, is the size correct? Does this work as I expect it to work? And yeah, how does it feel to drive here? And all these red points were potential like points of interest for the player to kind of go to and find something
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
That's
Um.
awesome.
Yeah. So this was really the first step, and from that, I can show you the next step for me was there's this really cool program called World Machine, which lets you make like detailed height maps of a landscape. So it's basically just a black and white texture that has like the height information of the landscape, and then you can put that into Unity or an Unreal Engine, and you have your landscape, and it looks realistic. It has like
That's
all the
so
rock
cool.
formations. Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a cool program. There's a free demo version out. Unfortunately, you can only export up to like a pretty low resolution with that, but yeah, it's fun to try it out, and you can consider experimenting with that. So yeah, one thing that was cool is I could just take the map that I made in Blender, and I could just import that into World Machine and generate a height map that followed exactly my blockout, basically. So
Right.
wherever I had a mountain in my blockout, there was now a mountain in this more detailed height map. So
Very
that was
cool.
the next step. Yeah. And then we got to this sort of thing, this sort of environment. And from then, it was mainly about just adding more of the gameplay elements and, yeah, seeing what we can do with the level.
Yeah, I can see that first you're trying to build up a canvas, and now when you build a level, that's when you're actually starting to paint stuff into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that description. It really is a canvas at this point where you can just um, decide, okay, what am I going to do with these individual parts of the level now? You have this really nice space. You know that, okay, this is the play space, and then you can just start throwing stuff onto it. So here's what we did. We split it up into sections. So these red lines, you can see this is where the environment was split into different quads, and each of these quads was its own like object in the engine, and one person could work on one quad basically, and this allowed us to work on the entire landscape with multiple people at the same time, which is
That's
very useful.
awesome. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Okay.
And then what we did is we created these green sections here. You can see A, B, C, and T. This was supposed to be for tutorial. That's why it's T and not D. Um, Yeah, this is how we decided to split the map between the four level designers. So we had one person working on the tutorial part, an island, one person working on the A section, which has like a town in it, a lighthouse here, gas station, some other features, a river, a mountain. B was like a big mountain and a racetrack, and C was mostly like a glacier area with some forest. And that's how we gave each section a sort of theme, and it also tied in a little bit with the narrative for the game.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I took the A section, so then every level designer went in and defined their section further, coming up with like time trial races. The blue lines you can see here are like races you can do, places where we wanted to place snowmen in the level that you can destroy. We had a bunch of other ideas for like collectibles or missions, like these scanner locations where the player was supposed to do something. There was even the idea to add a Yeti somewhere that you can find stuff from. But unfortunately, all of this was cut, like we talked about
Oh
before.
no. Okay, what
Yeah.
has been cut? What is kept?
Well,
Can we see a before and after?
I don't have a before and after of this, but there's a lot of stuff. Like I even had like a whole military base with a bunker and stuff planned under this mountain that never happened because we just didn't have the time for it. But it was at this point you're just trying to put ideas down, and since it's all just in 2D on paper, it's really fast to kind of iterate and think about things.
Right, right.
Yeah, unfortunately, like the scanner missions was cut. That was pretty cool idea where you have to find these like marked locations, and then you have to scan the environment for like the ground. You have to scan it for the temperature or something like that to track if like the global warming is affecting the place or something. Like that. That was something we wanted to do.
That would have
there.
been an awesome idea.
Yeah, maybe I could still sneak it in next block, but I don't I don't think I will, because we're technically feature locked already. So yeah. Okay, so this was next step, and then from there it was mostly just basically putting it into engine and iterating on it constantly. So here's a top-down screenshot of the map in the game. There should also wait. There should be a screenshot. Yes, here. We decided to cut a lot of the map, as I mentioned before. So everything above this red section here is has been completely removed from the map.
Oh wow!
Unfortunately, okay. So yeah, there was a big cut that we had to make, but in the end it was the right decision because it meant that we could really focus on like the town area over here. We had like the mountainous areas which needed a lot more work, and it just wasn't like initially the thought was that one level designer could do this whole area by themselves, but that just wasn't achievable. Wasn't realistic. So in the end we had 3 level designers working on this entire section.
Damn, I see.
Yeah, here's another screenshot sort of all the area that we ended up removing. This area got removed. Yeah, that was crazy. A lot of work.
But I can see the reasoning though behind it. I think building making sure that there is a small place, but that place feels alive and it feels like very intuitive and nicely designed. I think it's a lot more important, right? Because you want quality over quantity. Content doesn't mean good game.
For sure, yes, exactly. That was the main point here, is that we wanted the teachers basically said to us, okay, you have to decide if you want to focus on quality over quantity, or you just want to throw it like, or you would just want to do a lot of stuff. And in the end we decided that quality over quantity makes more sense, because in the end all that matters really is what players experience, and if it's very buggy, then they won't have an enjoyable experience. But if it's nice and polished but smaller, then they'll want more, so they'll want to go back to it.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I kind of skipped a little bit on the blockout step, but that was
that's cool.
Yeah, that was like the next step where I went into the level and started just placing very rough geometry everywhere. So we have basic understanding of where things
Even if they're
are.
rough, they look so like organic the way you arrange them. Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit of a challenge. I always have a difficulty with doing like towns or just like man-made stuff. I feel like is usually more difficult than doing natural stuff because with nature, like you can just place things however you want, sort of.
Right.
It always feels like because it's organic. It almost always feels like realistic
Mm.
and natural in a way. But
Mm.
with towns, like they have a certain way that they're built, and the teachers really made sure that we look at reference and so on to really get those things right. There's a few more places that I blocked out. There's a very basic block out of a military facility. There's a junkyard,
Mm.
and yeah. So this was the next step, just going into it and doing all those block out steps. More of that.
Wow.
Yeah. And from there, basically after that was all done and we knew that this was it, we
Wow.
started detailing it. This
Damn.
is, yeah, that's how it looked in the end once we were done cropping everything. Um, yeah, you can see more of these steps in this little GIF here. So
Whoa.
yeah, lots and lots of
Holy
iteration,
crap.
really.
Damn.
Yep. It really
That's
surprised
so
me as
much.
well. Yeah, it really surprised me as well how much work went into this and how much it improved over time as well. You just never really notice when you're working on it, but
Mm.
yeah, in the end, it really comes together.
That's so freaking impressive. Holy crap.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much the
Thank you so much for
process.
sharing that. That's so awesome to see. Like, it's so
Yeah.
cool. Man, okay, I know you don't make YouTube videos anymore, but this could easily go into a very cool YouTube video, just like talking about how you started level design and your approach and stuff. Man, that'd be awesome.
Huh, actually, yeah, that's a cool idea. Maybe I should do that at some point. We'll see. I'll try force myself to make a YouTube video
Hey,
again.
hey, hey, don't burn yourself out. So, you know,
True,
always just
true.
make sure.
Keep it chill, keep it chill.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so one of my last questions now for you, and after that we can jump into some Q&A stuff as well. For someone who's just starting out, whether it's 3D modeling, whether it's game dev, and let's say they want to work in a big team, or not in a, they don't want to work solo, they want to work on a big team. What type of tips and approaches do you think would be the right way to, you know, get onto this journey of working in a big team and like, you know, make a big game, make a AAA like game, or just like a big game, not a mini game.
Yeah. Um, so I definitely think when you're starting out, like it's important that you try to already get some sort of small team together and learn what it's like to work in a team.
Mm.
If you just get your friends together, just even if it's just two people, like just make small projects like that. That's how it worked for me. I think that that's how you're doing it as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like you just grab a friend and you join game jams and you do small projects, and that already gives you like you start to understand what it's like to work cooperatively with someone else, and for me, I really like now really enjoy working in teams and can't really imagine working by myself at the moment because
Mm.
it's just so fun to see, okay, if someone else contributes to the same project and you just see unexpected stuff in your game all of a sudden. But yeah, so do that. And well, for me, going to university was definitely the right decision, and studying game design, I knew I wanted to go in that direction, and my goal is still to get into AAA at some point or start my own company at some point. But yeah, so learning how to do that is very, very useful, and uni really helps you because you get those big teams, you have all those people, and it's easier to make some bigger projects like this because you're committed to it and you're supposed to, you're receiving a grade at the end. So it's not like you're just doing this in your free time and there's like no real deadlines or anything, but instead you have like you have teachers that help you out, you have your peers, and
It really is a
yeah,
realistic simulation. Like it really
yeah.
is a realistic simulation. Yeah. Damn.
It definitely you have to be careful with the university you pick. I think you should do a lot of like research into the different opportunities that you have, and not everywhere there's good game design education. It's still very like a very new um, path of study, but yeah, so really figure out where is a good place to go. I had the opportunity or the option as well to go to Germany to like a uni in Germany, but a lot of them were private educations, so that meant that you have to pay a lot more for their education, and it's not necessarily as good because
It doesn't. It's not that promising, right? That's the
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
sometimes the people aren't really that experienced, like the teachers aren't really that experienced either. It's sometimes just people that finish the study themselves and then start teaching right away or something like that. So like when you research a university, also look at the teachers and the people that teach there, because that tells you a lot. And the uni I ended up picking, they had yeah, people that were coming from the industry. Someone who worked at Ubisoft on The Division, for example. Like he was my mentor for quite a while, and he taught me
That's
a
so
lot of
cool.
really nice stuff.
I love
Yeah, that
Division,
was
so that's
yeah,
awesome.
it's awesome. It's really cool. So those connections are really how why university is ultimately worth it if you can afford it.
Hmm. Right.
And
Right.
yeah, even if not, if uni isn't the right thing for you, or if you can't afford it, or there just aren't any good possibilities in where you live, then it becomes a bit harder, I think, to get into the triple A sort of industry, because you mainly need like to build up your portfolio in that case.
Hmm.
Because one thing I'm noticing now that I'm starting to apply for internships and everything is that people really value a good portfolio. And if you want some inspiration, you can look at my portfolio as well, which I'm using right now. Um, it's leanderburger.com. But yeah, so basically that's where you put all your work, and that's what you send to the what are they called? Like the companies, basically the people where you want to apply.
Hmm.
And if you're really lucky, they might give you an interview or something like that, and then you can potentially get an internship at a company.
That's super cool. All right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Like that's so you've given so much value and yeah, I really appreciate that. Now, please tell me, how can we connect with you? How can we get in touch with you? And also, since he already showed, guys, go and check out his game as well as just look him up. Just look him up and see all the games he's worked on. He's an amazing level designer, as you can see, based from what you've seen. Also, an amazing 3D modeler, and yeah, really worth. And again, in this industry, it's so important to just connect with everyone, make relationships, networking.
Definitely,
Sometimes
yeah.
it is also just it's the people who you meet and the people who you know. It really can
Yeah,
can really help you. So check
for
Leander
sure.
out. Yeah.
If you can, like, try to, if you want to get into the AAA industry, try to make connections with people that are already there, because like sometimes they may have like the perfect opportunity and they can just refer you, and then it's going to be so much easier for you to get into the company.
Yep.
So yeah, just try to grow your network there. Um, yeah, the way you can connect with me, you can hit me up on Twitter. I think my DMs are open if you want to text me over there. You can check out my YouTube channel if you want to see more of my projects.
Link in the
Uh,
description.
yes, and I'll also share my Discord tag in the chat right now, so people can hit me up on Discord if they want to chat more about things. I'm very happy to do that. And yeah, if there's anything else, then yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also yes, Games by Soul. LinkedIn is also a very good place to connect. Very nice, because it's a professional place where everyone
Hmm.
professional hangs out. You can also find me on LinkedIn, just as Leander Burger.
Hell yeah! Now
This,
we are on some Q&A time, and after that, I think we can cut it off.
yeah,
Let's
let's
see.
hear.
Is the team international? Somebody, Mark asked.
Mark, okay. Yes, the team is very much international. Since the school is in the Netherlands, there's a bunch of Dutch students there, because for them it's easy. But we also have people from Bulgaria. We have where else? We have Germans like me and some others. We there's even a few people from like Brazil or USA or something like that. So people come from all over the place, and yeah, it's a nice community there, and everything is in English. Everyone talks English there. The
That's
teachers
awesome.
are also not all Dutch. They're like from all over the world basically, and yeah, that's what makes it really cool.
That was one of my issues with because now I'm also studying at uni, right? I'm doing game design as well, and I'm in full sales, and for me, looking at a lot of universities, like I had some choices as well, and one was in Switzerland, but the problem was that they didn't speak like English was not their primary thing, and I was like,
Mm,
okay,
yeah,
I'll
that
look
is
somewhere
tough.
else, but
Yeah, that is tough.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it makes sense for a study like this to be international.
yeah, right? I thought
'Cause
so
it's,
too.
yeah, a lot of like I don't know what it's like. You're from Bulgaria or Romania? What was it?
Romania. Yeah, I'm
Romania,
based
yeah.
in Romania. Yeah.
Do you have like game design educations there?
We do have one, but I saw the syllabus and also the teacher. The teachers were fine because there were a lot also. Because Romania we have a pretty big headquarters for AAA studios. For some reason,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of AAA studios. They have some site headquarters here in Romania.
Mm-hmm.
Ubisoft, EA, I think, and also like Gameloft, I think.
Nice, yeah.
But even coming from there, whoever made the syllabus was it just didn't match what I wanted to do. They wanted to get into VR. They wanted to get into I think was more on just creating art assets. Whereas for me, as much as I value that, I want my school to kind of like give me the proficiency in more in like level design side. I like they only had this one course which was
Mm.
making games or something like that, art of game making or something. That's what it was called, and I was like, and by default I was thrown off by it. I was like, yeah, I'll look somewhere else.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like,
It's weird. I think the main thing that unis don't really tackle yet is game design. Like, there's a
yeah,
lot of like art programming. That's like the things they teach you, and then there's not much on design really.
right, right.
That's
Yeah.
I feel like that's still missing here and there.
And
But yeah,
design as well. I think like a lot of people look at design, look down on design. Like they think that design is really easy because everybody could potentially make designs. But the more I look into it and the more I talk with people, the more I realize that design is probably one of the like it shouldn't be looked down upon because it's really really difficult to make a good design. It takes
yeah.
an enormous amount of skill to make a good design. So
Yeah, it's about making really clever decisions and really
yeah,
understanding like the psychology of the player as well.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's just there's so
yeah,
much that you need to be able to make a good design. So I
yeah,
think like I don't know, universities not giving more opportunities for delving more into design is a missed opportunity because
yeah.
it's a very like difficult and important task in games.
And it's very fun as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Let's see, just say all Dutch people English. Oh, I don't think there's any question. You guys don't have any questions? Come on, chat.
Use
I got a
Unreal.
question for you, Leander. What
Okay.
games are you playing at the moment? Do you have time to play games?
Yes, I just had a 3-week holiday after we released our game,
Ah,
which was
hell yeah.
amazing. Now, tomorrow we're getting back into it, so I probably won't have as much time to play games anymore. But I recently started playing Call of Duty Warzone with a friend of mine.
Oh, nice, nice.
It's quite fun. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. But by myself, I mostly like to play more like story-driven adventure games. So I just recently finished Tell Me Why by Don't Nod.
Mm.
They're the guys that made Life is Strange. So
Oh,
yeah.
right. Okay, okay.
So I really enjoy their games because they're always like very character driven, very well written, and just they're just so emotional. Like every time I play them, like I feel like I'm gonna cry from one of the games. And it's, I don't know, for me that's just one of the, it's just amazing for me when a game can make you that like
Yeah.
emotionally
Oh,
invested.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I remember I played both. I think there were two, right, in total. Sorry,
Like
I
which
had a
one?
brain fart. The
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange. There you go. The
Yeah.
two Life is Strange. I played both of them.
Hmm.
And yeah, I remember it was really emotional. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
great.
like you said, characters have so much soul in them. Like you can get an understanding of how all these characters are different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alex
that's
asked, "Have you played Tadpole Tales?"
I have, yes.
Have you?
Of
Oh,
course.
thank you.
Of course. Who hasn't at this point? I mean, come on. It's such a big hit. Yeah, I played it. I think I got to like the second boss, but never really got further than that. I'm not
Oh
that
yeah.
good at it yet.
No, no, it's like I think I made um just between us and the chat, I do think I made the order too hard. But I am, however, I don't have any regrets making it hard. Because I feel like
I mean, people are still beating it, so
I've
that's
built a
good.
culture of we now have an emote called Ottered. You got
Ah,
Ottered because it's
nice.
the otter is too hard. So-
That's great.
and I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
great.
Yeah.
That's nice though that people appreciate that. Yeah, I found the author very hard, but maybe someday I'll beat it. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh wait, I think I have some. I think that was all the questions. Yeah. All
Right.
right. I think that's it. Since everybody kind of like watched through it.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Leander, for giving again so many wonderful input. Like I look up to you, and I look forward to see this game. You know, getting out of early access because
Oh
that's one of
yes, me
the,
too.
you know, a lot of games just stay in early access. I can't wait to see it out of early access.
Well, we have to get it out. So yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
I think another question I have is, what do you prefer, working alone or in a small team or a big team?
Oh, good question. I think I touched on it earlier.
A bit,
I
yeah.
really like working in bigger teams right now, or at least in some sort of team, because it by myself I can't really like. It's really hard to motivate you yourself while working alone. I feel like a big part of the fun when making games is to bounce ideas off each other and kind of see what where the thing develops.
There is a beauty
So
in that. I can totally agree as well. There is a very, yeah, sorry.
it's an iterative process, and it's a lot more fun when you have someone else to share the journey
Yeah.
with. I feel like.
Yeah. Just
Um,
like in games, like there's this theory,
yeah.
like, and I have to agree. Like, I'm sorry, when it comes to fun, multiplayer is when you add. Not I'm not saying multiplayer games. I'm saying in a game, any game, when you have another person in that world, it by default just makes it more fun. It's just because there's one element of interaction,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, and it just makes it a lot more dynamic.
yeah,
I think for me, the most fun thing of working in a team is just the random surprises you sometimes get when, I don't know, you've been working on your area for like a week or so, and then at some point somebody submits something to the project, and it's this amazing like new art asset or this new character, and you can just play it, and you know, okay, this is gonna be in our game, and like this is so cool, and yeah, that's just really nice. And also, when I work, I really like to just have someone else to chat to while working. For me, that's always something that I really like to do, is just to goof around while working just to get my mind
Oh yeah.
off things while I do
Oh
other things.
yeah.
So yeah, that's the main thing that motivates me to work in bigger teams.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Yeah. I hope this to the chat. I hope this that this Chatterbox session brought you some inspiration, insight, and knowledge, which will help you and propel you towards your game dev career as well if you're pursuing it. I really appreciate everyone for watching. Check Leander out, follow him, and he's a nice guy, and he'll be here to chat if you ever need anything.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope so too. I hope I was able to give you some interesting insights and helpful tips. And if you have any more questions or you want like feedback on level design or game design stuff, again, just reach out to me, Discord, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever. I'll be there and answer your questions.
Also,
Thanks for
check
having
out
me.
his YouTube channel as well because some of his tutorials on Blender is Chef's Kiss, so you should check that out.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Okay, well, I think that's it for today's Chatterbox. Thank you again so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Till next time. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.